The rain-slicked asphalt of Seattle gleamed under the sodium lamps like a promise broken too many times, and Jordan Hale slammed into it face-first, his body folding like wet paper. A horn blared from the truck that had just clipped him, but the pain was distant, muffled by the roar in his ears, pheromones thick and cloying, wrapping around him like invisible chains. He gasped, tasting copper and salt, realizing with a jolt that this wasn't his blood, wasn't his life. He was drowning in someone else's skin, an Omega named Riley Voss, whose heart was pounding not from the accident, but from the Alpha towering over him, eyes blazing with a fury that smelled like pine and possession. Jordan, no, Riley now, scrambled back on scraped palms, the world tilting into focus. Towering pines lining the edge of Ridgewood, Washington, a sleepy coastal town that existed only in the dog-eared pages of faded bonds, the ABO novel had been devouring on his commute home. Head laughed at the tropes, the Alphas with their brooding silences and Omegas quivering in heat, but now the air hummed with it, real as the chill seeping through his thin jacket. The Alpha, Wyatt Kane, the book's anti-hero, all sharp jaw and coiled muscle, loomed closer, his scent crashing over Riley like a wave, demanding submission that Jordan's modern, beta-assumed soul rebelled against with every fiber. "What the hell are you doing out here, Voss?" Wyatt's voice was gravel wrapped in silk, low and laced with that novel's trademark menace, but his hand, rough, calloused from logging shifts in the forests outside town, hovered just inches from Riley's arm, not grabbing, not yet. In the book, this was the scene where Riley, the disposable side character, got shoved into traffic by a rival beta. His death a catalyst for Wyatt's redemption arc with the true Omega lead, Elias. But Jordan, with his last-ditch lunge from the sidewalk, fueled by half-remembered plot points and a surge of inexplicable protectiveness, had yanked Wyatt back instead, flipping the script in a blur of tires and screams. Riley Jordan blinked up at him, heart hammering against ribs that felt too fragile, too exposed. The truck peeled away, its driver cursing into the night, oblivious to the near-miss that had just rewritten fate. Wyatt's eyes narrowed, pupils dilating as Riley's scent, sweet like rain-soaked cedar, unbidden and potent, wafted up, betraying the fear twisting in his gut. "You saved me," the Alpha murmured, more to himself than anything, and in that moment Jordan knew. He wasn't just in the story. He was the glitch, the variable that could unravel it all. Ridgewood sprawled like a forgotten postcard, all misty harbors and clapboard houses huddled against the Puget Sound, where the salt air mingled with the earthy undertones of ABO dynamics that every American kid grew up navigating like invisible traffic laws. Jordan had always pegged himself as a beta in the real world, unscented, unremarkable, blending into the barista crowds of Seattle with his graphic tees and half-finished screenplays. At 28, had chased dreams of Hollywood from community college writing classes, only to end up slinging lattes and binging web novels on rainy afternoons. Faded Bonds had been his latest escape, a steamy ABO tale of pack rivalries in a Pacific Northwest town, where Alphas like Wyatt ruled logging crews and Omegas like Elias navigated heats with quiet defiance. It was escapist fluff, or so had thought, until the truck, his truck in his world, had swerved and black spots had swallowed him whole. Waking as Riley Voss was like surfacing from a nightmare into a fever dream. Riley's body was slighter than Jordan's, with the lithe build of an Omega who'd spent years suppressing his cycles with suppressants that now fizzled uselessly in his veins. The apartment above the harborside bookstore, Riley's job per the book, was a cluttered nest of dog-eared paperbacks and half-burned candles, scents layered like memories Jordan didn't own. He stared at his reflection in the chipped bathroom mirror that first morning, tracing the unfamiliar curve of his jaw, the faint freckles across his nose that spoke of sun-kissed summers he hadn't lived. Pale olive skin, inherited from some half-remembered Italian grandma, flushed easily under stress, and right now it burned as if branded. The plot nagged at him like a half-remembered song. Riley was cannon fodder. A quiet Omega bookstore clerk who'd pine for Wyatt from afar, only to get offed in Chapter 3 to spur the Alpha's brooding. Elias, the golden Omega protagonist, would swoop in with his ethereal sense and heal Wyatt's scars. Jordan couldn't let that happen, not when Head appended it by saving Wyatt, not when the Alpha's gaze had lingered last night, heavy with questions Riley had stammered through with lies borrowed from the text. "I just tripped," Head said. voice cracking on the edge of a pheromone haze that made his knees weak. Wyatt hadn't bought it, but had walked Riley home anyway, his presence a shield against the curious stares of passing betas. By noon the bookstore hummed with the rhythm of Ridgewood life. Fishermen and oilskins browsing nautical charts. Alphas from the cane logging company barking orders over coffee. Jordan shelved romances with trembling hands, the spines blurring as snippets of the novel resurfaced. Wyatt's tragic backstory, orphaned young, hardened by a beta's betrayal. Elias' arrival as the new teacher at Ridgewood High, destined to soften him. But now Wyatt pushed through the door, broad shoulders filling the frame. His flannel shirt rolled to elbows that revealed veins like rivers on a map. The bell tinkled softly but the air shifted, charged. "Riley," Wyatt said, leaning on the counter with that easy dominance alphas wore like cologne. "You didn't have to cover for me last night. The driver's my cousin's idiot, he'll get an earful." His eyes, storm gray and piercing, locked on Jordan's, and there it was again. The pull like gravity bending toward a black hole. In the book, Wyatt ignored Riley entirely here. But now he lingered, scent marking the space between them with notes of smoked oak. Jordan swallowed, forcing a smile that felt foreign on Riley's lips. No big deal. Just reflexes. He busied himself with a stack of thrillers, but Wyatt's hand caught the edge of the counter, close enough that Jordan could feel the heat radiating off him. "You smell different today," Wyatt noted, voice dropping to a rumble that vibrated through Jordan's chest. "Sweeter. Like you dropped the suppressants." Heat flooded Jordan's face, Riley's face, and he cursed inwardly. The plot demanded Riley stay medicated, invisible. Without them, his omega nature would flare, drawing alphas like moths. "I ran out," he admitted, the truth slipping free because lying to Wyatt felt like defying physics. Wyatt's nostrils flared subtly, and for a heartbeat Jordan thought head bolt, or worse, claim. Instead, the alpha straightened, a flicker of something raw crossing his features. Hunger, yes, but laced with restraint. "Come by the site after shift," Wyatt said, not a question. "Hunter's asking about you. The crew wants to thank the guy who kept their foreman from becoming roadkill." He tossed a crumpled 20 on the counter for a coffee he didn't order, then turned but paused at the door. "And Riley? Don't do anything stupid like that again. I owe you now." The door swung shut, leaving Jordan adrift in the scent trail, heart a wild drum. Owe him. In the novel, debts like that sparked vendettas, not invitations. Had changed it. Accidentally, stupidly, and now Wyatt Kane saw him. Really saw him. As the afternoon wore on, customers blurred into a haze. A beta mom with twins giggling over picture books, an elderly alpha waxing poetic about World War II packs. But Jordan's mind raced ahead, piecing together contingencies. If he stuck to the plot, Riley died anyway, maybe worse now that Wyatt was entangled. No, head rewrite it his way. Survive, expose the novel's contrived drama, find a way back. Or hell, make a life here, sense and all. Dusk fell early over Ridgewood, painting the sound in bruised purples. Jordan locked up the store, shoulders tight under the weight of impending heat that simmered low in his belly, a foreign ache that made every step a negotiation with his body. The logging site lay a mile out, past salt marshes where egrets picked at the tide, the air thick with pine resin and diesel. Head walked this path in Wyatt's chapters, envying the casual camaraderie of the crew. But now it was real. Boots crunching gravel, the distant whine of chainsaws fading to laughter around a bonfire. Hunter Blackwood spotted him first, a lanky beta with a crooked grin and tattoos snaking up his arms like vines. There he is, the Omega ghost who haunts traffic. The crew, mostly alphas, a smattering of betas, hoisted beers in salute, their scents a tapestry of earth and sweat that should have overwhelmed but instead grounded him. Wyatt stood apart, nursing a bottle, his gaze tracking Jordan like a hawk sighting prey. They clapped him on the back, too hard for his slighter frame, recounting the near miss with exaggerated flair. "Hunter's the one who pulled you up," Wyatt grunted when Jordan thanked him, but his eyes said otherwise. Possession flickering at the edges. Around the fire stories flowed. Ghost logs in the woods, a pack feud from the 90s that left scars deeper than bark. Jordan listened, chiming in with half-remembered details from the book, earning laughs that eased the knot in his chest. But as embers died, Wyatt pulled him aside, into the shadow of a felled cedar. "Why me?" the alpha asked, voice stripped bare. "You could have let it happen. No one would have blamed an omega for looking away." Jordan met his stare, the firelight carving hollows in Wyatt's cheeks. "Because you're worth saving," he said, the words tumbling out unscripted, raw as exposed roots. Wyatt's breath hitched, and for a moment, the world narrowed to the space between them, sense mingling omega sweetness curling around alpha strength like a vine-seeking sun. Then Wyatt stepped back, jaw tight. "Get home safe, Riley. Before I do something we'll both regret." Jordan walked back through the dark, pulse thundering, the plot fracturing under his feet. Head meant to fix it, not fall into it. But as Riley's heat crested that night, alone in the apartment with sheets twisted like accusations, he wondered if survival meant surrender, or if Wyatt Kane was the key to both. The heat hit like a freight train at dawn, ripping Jordan from sleep with claws of fire under his skin, every nerve alight and demanding. He bolted upright in Riley's bed, sheets damp and tangled, the air heavy with his own scent, cloying, desperate like overripe pears left in the sun. In the novel, Riley never reached this point. Suppressants kept him a ghost, fading before his cycle could betray him. But Jordan hadn't restocked, too caught in the whirlwind of transmigration to notice the calendar on the kitchen wall marking days like warnings. Now, curled on the floor with a pillow clutched to his chest, he rode the waves, breath shallow and ragged, cursing the body that wasn't his. Seattle rain pattered against the window, a mocking lullaby from his old life. He'd give anything for his cramped studio apartment, the hum of the coffee grinder at Bean there, the anonymity of scrolling fanfics late into the night. Here in Ridgewood, vulnerability wasn't abstract. It was pheromone-laced terror, drawing alphas like blood in the water. Wyatt. The name echoed, a pulse of its own. Last night's invitation lingered like smoke, his restraint a thin veil over something primal. Jordan had read enough ABO to know the risks, mating bites, heats that bound souls, but feeling it was a chasm endless and echoing. By midday, the bookstore felt like a sanctuary turned trap. He called in sick to Mrs. Hargrove, the beta owner with her no-nonsense bun and encyclopedic knowledge of plots, mumbling about flu through gritted teeth. But isolation bred paranoia. What if Wyatt came looking? What if the plot corrected itself, yanking Riley, him, into oblivion to restore order? He paced the apartment, brewing chamomile that did nothing for the ache, scrolling mental chapters for escapes. In Fated Bonds, Elias arrived next week, his omega allure snapping Wyatt's focus. If Jordan could just hold out. A knock shattered the haze, firm, insistent. Jordan's stomach dropped. He cracked the door, chain rattling, and there was Wyatt, all 6'3" of flannel and quiet storm, holding a paper bag that smelled of fresh bread and herbs. "Figured you'd hole up," the alpha said, voice even but eyes scanning Jordan's flushed face, nostrils flaring at the undercurrent of heat. "Brought soup from the diner. Hunter's recipe. Keeps the chills at bay." Jordan hesitated, the chain a flimsy barrier against the pull of Wyatt's scent, steady oak grounding the chaos. Not great company right now, he managed, but his body betrayed him, leaning into the doorframe as a cramp twisted low. Wyatt's jaw tightened, and he shouldered in gently like handling fragile glass, the bag set on the counter with care that belied his size. "You're burning up," Wyatt observed, not touching but close enough that Jordan could map the freckles across his knuckles. "Suppressants? I'll run to the pharmacy." No, too late for that. The admission hung, raw and exposed, and Jordan braced for rejection. The novel's alphas who saw heats as weaknesses to exploit. But Wyatt nodded once and moved to the kitchenette, filling a glass with water from the tap. "Sit," he ordered softly, and Jordan did, knees weak as he sank to the couch. Wyatt handed him the glass, then rummaged in the bag, soup, crackers, a thermos of what smelled like ginger tea. Practical, Jordan thought dazedly, like the Wyatt from the book but softer at the edges, unscarred by Riley's scripted death. They sat in charged silence, Jordan sipping the tea that eased the fire fractionally, Wyatt perched on the coffee table like a sentinel. "Why help?" Jordan asked finally, voice hoarse. "You don't owe me this." In the story, Wyatt barely acknowledged side characters, his world a fortress of solitude. Wyatt rubbed the back of his neck, a gesture Jordan recognized from tense boardroom scenes had written in his own scripts. Because last night, you looked at me like I was more than the guy who yells at logs all day. Like you saw the mess under it. His gaze dropped to the floorboards, scuffed from years of Riley's quiet tenancy. And maybe I see you too, Riley. Not just the Omega clerk. Something real. The words landed like embers on dry tinder, igniting a warmth that had nothing to do with heat. Jordan wanted to confess. I'm not him, I'm Jordan from another world, a glitch in your narrative, but the truth stuck, too absurd, too dangerous. Instead he reached out, fingers brushing Wyatt's wrist, a spark jumping at the contact. Thank you, he whispered, and Wyatt covered his hand, thumb tracing circles that sent shivers racing up Jordan's arm. The afternoon blurred into evening, Wyatt staying through waves that peaked and ebbed, his presence an anchor. He talked low, rambling stories of boyhood in Ridgewood's foster system, alphas who taught him knots before kindness, the beta ant who'd stitched his first flannel. Jordan shared fragments. Seattle's indie film scene, scripts that dreamed bigger than barista shifts, the loneliness of beta invisibility. Lies woven with truths, Riley's life filling gaps until it felt like his own. As night deepened, the heat crested again, fiercer, and Jordan gasped, doubling over. Wyatt was there in an instant, arms around him, lifting effortlessly to the bed. Easy, he murmured, scent enveloping like a blanket. Alpha calm countering Omega frenzy. I got you. No further, just holding through the storm, breath sinking until Jordan drifted, safe in the paradox of a fictional man's embrace. Morning brought clarity, the heat receding to embers, leaving Jordan wrung out but alive. Wyatt brewed coffee, black, strong like the alpha's unspoken promises, and they ate toast at the tiny table, knees brushing under worn wood. You shouldn't have stayed, Jordan said, but without regret. Wyatt's smile was rare, crooked at the edges. Worth it. But next time stock up. Or, call me. The offer hung, simple as dawn light slanting through curtains, and Jordan nodded, pulse quickening at the implication. Next time meant continuity, a thread pulled from the plot's weave. He returned to the bookstore that afternoon, body tender but mind alight. Mrs. Hargrove arched a brow over her glasses. Lovesick already, Voss? He flushed, stammering denials, but the crew filtered in later, Hunter with a wink, others clapping his shoulder. Whispers of Wyatt speaking up for the Omega had saved his hide. Word spread in Ridgewood like mist over the sound. Riley Voss wasn't fading background anymore. That night, alone, Jordan pulled out Riley's journal, hidden under the mattress, pages filled with sketches of harbors and half-formed poems about longing. He added his own entry, pen-scratching truths, changed the scene. Wyatt sees me. What now? The plot loomed, Elias due soon, but for the first time, Jordan felt the stirrings of agency. Not just surviving the story but shaping it. And in the quiet, with Wyatt's scent still clinging to his skin, he wondered if home wasn't a place to return to, but one to build, one tentative touch at a time. Days folded into a rhythm that felt dangerously like belonging. Jordan shelved books with purpose, recommending ABO romances to blushing betas, his insights laced with meta-irony only he caught. Wyatt appeared like clockwork. Mornings with coffee from the diner, evenings walking him home under star-pricked skies, conversations deepening like roots in soil. They talked dreams, Wyatt's quiet wish for a pack beyond logs, Jordan's tales of screenplays that captured hearts. Scents mingled casually now, Wyatt's oak steadying Riley's cedar, a dance of proximity without pressure. But the plot whispered warnings. Elias arrived midweek, stepping off the ferry with a duffel and a smile that lit the bookstore like summer. Golden-haired, sun-kissed skin from California roots. His Omega sent a light citrus breeze that turned heads. In the novel he was perfection. Orphaned artist turned teacher, destined to crack Wyatt's walls. Jordan watched from behind the counter as Elias browsed poetry, their eyes meeting in a spark of recognition, the lead's entrance scripted to charm. Hey, Elias said, voice warm as honey. New in town recommendations? Jordan handed him a local guide, fingers brushing, and felt the pull. Narrative gravity drawing Elias toward Wyatt. But when Wyatt swung by later, his gaze skipped Elias entirely, landing on Jordan with that now familiar heat. Elias noticed, brow quirking, but Jordan played it cool, shelving the unease. That night, over fish tacos at the Harborside Shack, Wyatt leaned in. Saw the new teacher today. Seems nice. Jealousy flickered, unbidden, but Wyatt continued, but he ain't you, Riley. The word sealed something, a bond forming in the salt air. And Jordan let himself lean back, heart full. Yet cracks showed. Hunter cornered him at the site barbecue, beer in hand. Wyatt's different since you. Softer. But watch it, alphas like him. They break what they hold too tight. The warning echoed the novel's betrayal arc. Wyatt's ex-beta, Cole, who'd sold pack secrets for city lights. Jordan brushed it off, but sleep evaded him, dreams tangled with trucks and titles. Fall deepened in Ridgewood, leaves turning the forest to fire, mirroring the slow burn building in Jordan's chest. Weeks blurred, Wyatt a constant now. Hands brushing in the bookstore aisles, late-night drives along the coast where the sound crashed like unspoken confessions. Jordan learned the alpha's rhythms, the way he hummed old folk tunes while carving wooden totems, the scar on his rib from a logging mishap that tasted of salt when kissed in fevered dreams he dared not voice. Riley's body responded instinctively, heats milder in Wyatt's proximity, as if the alpha soothed what the plot had wired to torment. Elias integrated seamlessly, his classroom sketches of Puget myths adorning school walls, his laughter drawing Wyatt into group hikes that Jordan joined reluctantly, the outsider in his own intrusion. The Omega was kind, disarmingly so, sharing California stories over diner pie. His citrus sent a neutral buffer against the crew's earthier notes. But Jordan caught the glances, Elias toward Wyatt with scripted longing, Wyatt deflecting with easy camaraderie that never deepened. The plot strained like a rope fraying under wrong pulls. In faded bonds by now Elias' heat would sink with Wyatt's rut, sealing their bond. Instead, Wyatt canceled a fishing trip, citing crew deadlines, and showed at Jordan's door with wild salmon grilled on his truck bed, eyes dark with intent. "You're avoiding him," Jordan said that night, fork pausing over the foil plate, the two of them cross-legged on the apartment floor amid scattered books. "Elias." The air hummed, Wyatt's knee pressing his, a deliberate anchor. Wyatt shrugged, but his sense spiked, edged with frustration. "He's good people. But he wants the hero arc, Riley, the one where the alpha's all noble and fixed. You see the wreckage." His hand found Jordan's, calluses rough against smoother skin, and pulled him closer, foreheads touching in the lamplight. Jordan breathed him in, oak and salt, the vulnerability cracking him open. "I want this," Wyatt murmured. Whatever it is." The kiss ignited slow, tentative, lips brushing like testing waves on shore, then deepening as barriers crumbled. Wyatt's mouth was warm, tasting of beer and honesty, hands framing Jordan's face with a gentleness that belied his strength. Jordan melted into it, fingers threading Wyatt's hair, the world narrowing to the slide of tongues, the press of bodies aligning like puzzle pieces long separated. Heat bloomed, not the frantic cycle but something deeper, a resonance that hummed in his veins. They broke apart gasping, foreheads still pressed, Wyatt's eyes searching. "Too fast?" he asked, voice wrecked. "No," Jordan whispered, tracing the alpha's jaw. "Just right." They talked after, tangled on the couch about fears, Wyatt's of repeating past hurts, Jordan's of impermanence, truths veiled as Riley's orphan backstory. Sleep came easy, Wyatt spooning him, arm a heavy promise across his waist. Morning brought normalcy laced with new intimacy. Wyatt lingering for breakfast, stealing bites of toast with lazy grins. But Ridgewood buzzed with change. The annual harvest fair loomed, a town staple of booths and bonfires where packs mingled, scents clashing in festive chaos. Elias roped Jordan into volunteering at the art stall, his enthusiasm infectious. "You've got an eye for stories," Elias said, handing him paints for mural touches. "Like you're living one." Jordan laughed it off, but the words stung. Brush strokes blurring as guilt twisted. Head stolen the spotlight, derailed Elias' narrative. Yet the Omega seemed content, sketching Wyatt's profile from afar with a wistful smile that didn't reach his eyes. Hunter pulled Wyatt aside during setup, their heads bent in low conference, and Jordan overheard fragments. "Old flames. Cole's back in town. Stirring shit. Cole Harlan, the novel's villainous beta. Wyatt's ex had ghosted for Seattle ambitions, leaving the alpha shattered. In the plot, Cole's return ignited the climax, manipulating Elias into a jealousy ploy. But now, with Jordan in the mix, the dynamics shifted. That evening, as fairy lights twinkled over the fairgrounds, Cole appeared like a shadow. Lean, sharp-featured, his beta neutrality a chameleon's skin. He clapped Wyatt on the back at the beer tent, voice oily. "Heard you dodged a bullet, Kane, and made a new friend?" Wyatt's posture stiffened, but he nodded curtly, arms slipping around Jordan's waist in casual claim. Cole's eyes flicked over, assessing, a smirk playing. "Cute. The Omega type, huh? Word travels fast in packs." Jordan held his ground, sent steady despite the churn, but inside panic flickered. Cole knew the old script could force it back on track. The night unfolded in bursts. Ferris wheel rides where Wyatt held him close against the wind, cotton candy shared with sticky fingers, dances under strung bulbs to fiddles and drums. Elias joined briefly, his laughter light, but slipped away early, citing grating. Later, by the bonfire, Cole cornered Jordan alone. Wyatt's back turned to fetch drinks. "You're the glitch, aren't you?" the beta hissed, close enough for breath to ghost his ear. "Wyatt's mine by right, story says so. Play your part or I'll write you out." Jordan recoiled, heart slamming, but Wyatt returned, sensing the shift, his body a wall between them. "Trouble?" he growled, low and lethal. Cole raised hands in mock surrender, just catching up. But his eyes promised war. And as he melted into the crowd, Jordan clung to Wyatt, the alpha's hand squeezing reassurance. They left early, driving twisty roads to a overlook where stars mirrored the sound below. Wyatt pulled him onto the truck hood, blanket wrapped, and they lay in silence, his fingers tracing constellations on Jordan's palm. "He's trouble," Wyatt admitted finally. "Cole left scars, sold our pack routes to competitors, nearly bankrupted us. I was young, thought it love. Now he's back, sniffing for weakness." His voice cracked and Jordan turned, cupping his face. "You're stronger now. We are." The kiss that followed was fierce, claiming Wyatt's body, pressing him into the blanket, hands roaming with urgency tempered by care. They didn't go further, not yet, but the promise thrummed, a bridge to tomorrow's uncertainties. Back home, Jordan journaled feverishly. Cole's threat. Plot pushing back. But Wyatt's real, his doubts, his touch. Elias fading but not broken. Am I the villain now? Sleep evaded, replaced by planning. Confront Cole, accelerate Elias' arc, find a way to balance the scales. Dawn found him resolute, Wyatt stirring beside him with a sleepy smile that made it all worth the risk. The fair afterglow faded into routine, but tension simmered. Wyatt doubled shifts, guarding the crew from Cole's whispers. Rumors of poached contracts, old grudges flaring. Jordan threw himself into the bookstore, curating a display of local lore that drew Elias in daily, their talks turning confessional. Turns out, the Omega confessed over tea. I'd rather teach than chase fates. Wyatt's great, but you're the one who's home here, Riley. The admission eased Jordan's guilt, a plot fork where Elias found his own path, sketching solo exhibits instead of suitors. Yet Cole escalated. Anonymous notes slipped under doors, warning of Omega distractions weakening packs. A slashed tire on Wyatt's truck, Beta sent faint but unmistakable. Wyatt raged in private, punching bags at the gym until knuckles split, Jordan bandaging them with quiet words. Let me help, he urged. Tell me how to fight this. You already are, Wyatt replied, pulling him close. By being here. Their nights deepened, explorations slow and reverent, Wyatt's mouth mapping scars real and imagined, Jordan's gasps filling the dark. In those moments the story dissolved, leaving only them. Alpha and Omega. Not tropes but men, vulnerable and whole. But climax brewed. Hunter reported Cole's alliance with rival loggers. A bid to oust Wyatt as foreman. The crew fractured, loyalties tested, and Elias, unwittingly, became pawn when Cole spread tales of his California flings, painting him untrustworthy. Jordan intervened, defending Elias at a town hall, his voice steady despite the eyes on him. You don't know him, he said to the murmurs. He's building something real here. Wyatt watched from the back, pride mingling with fear, and later in the truck he kissed Jordan senseless. "You're braver than me," he breathed. "Don't know what I'd do without you." Survive, Jordan teased, but inside dread coiled. The plot demanded blood. Riley's originally. Now with changes rippling, who paid the price? Winter whispered in on salt winds, frosting Ridgewood's windows and hardening the ground where conflicts took root. Cole's machinations bloomed overt now. Petitions circulated at the diner, calling for Wyatt's removal, signatures inked with beta precision. The crew splintered, loyalists like Hunter holding firm, others swayed by promises of steady pay under new management. Wyatt buried it in work, dawn to dusk chainsaw roars echoing his silence, but Jordan saw the toll. Hollow cheeks, sense edged with acrid stress that soured their evenings. "We face it together," Jordan insisted one night, straddling Wyatt's lap on the couch, hands framing his face to force eye contact. "Cole's not the story. He's just a man scared of what he lost." Wyatt's laugh was bitter, arms wrapping Jordan's waist like lifeline. "Easy for you to say, Omega. You don't carry the pack." But Jordan did in ways unspoken. Riley's memories surfacing in dreams, fragments of a lonely childhood that mirrored his own, blending until he couldn't parse where Jordan ended and Riley began. The bookstore became war room, Mrs. Hargrove turning a blind eye to late-night meetings where Elias sketched maps of logging claims, his artist eye spotting discrepancies in Cole's forged docs. "You're good at this," Elias noted, charcoal smudging his fingers, unraveling knots. Jordan shrugged, but pride warmed him. Head changed more than romance. Head woven alliances, turning side characters into allies. Hunter brought beer and blueprints, betas from town pitching in with legal know-how. Even old Mr. Harlan, Cole's estranged dad, slipped Jordan a ledger, gruff voice muttering about family debts. Yet intimacy with Wyatt anchored it all. Their bond deepened in stolen hours. Slow mornings tangled in sheets, Wyatt's fingers tracing Riley's spine as if memorizing poetry. Hikes where they carved initials into bark, scents marking territory against encroaching cold. One evening, rut hit Wyatt sudden and fierce, triggered by stress, his body a furnace against Jordan's. They navigated it raw, Jordan guiding with touches and words. No bites but promises exchanged in sweat-slicked whispers. After, Wyatt held him like fragile dawn, voice breaking. "Love you, Riley. Didn't plan it, but here we are." The words shattered Jordan, tears pricking as he clung back. "Me too." A truth that transcended worlds, binding him tighter to this fractured plot. But love made stakes lethal. Cole's next move struck personal. A fire at the bookstore, midnight blaze contained quick but devastating, shelves charred, Riley's sketches ash. Arson, the fire chief ruled, beta traces faint on the accelerant can. Wyatt arrived wild-eyed, pulling Jordan from the curb where he sat stunned, smoke stinging his eyes. "He's coming for you," Wyatt growled, checking for burns with frantic hands. "To hurt me through you." They crashed at Wyatt's cabin that night. Rustic logs overlooking the sound, a spacehead kept sacred now shared. Jordan traced the wall's photos. Young Wyatt with a laughing beta boy. Cole's ghost haunting even here. "Burn it all," Wyatt said hoarsely. "Start over with you." Rebuilding began at dawn. Crew hauling waterlogged books, Elias painting murals on fresh walls, townfolk donating volumes in quiet solidarity. Jordan worked through grief. Riley's journal salvaged, pages warped but words intact, channeling it into a community read. Faded bonds ironically, drawing laughs when he quipped about plot twists. Wyatt watched, thawing, his sense steadying the chaos. But betrayal brewed closer. Hunter confessed over coffee. "Cole's got dirt. Says you, Riley, were playing both sides, flirting with Elias to make Wyatt jealous. It's bullshit, but the crew's whispering." Jordan reeled, the accusation a knife twist. In the novel, this ploy ensnared Elias, but now it targeted him, the interloper. Wyatt's face when confronted was a storm. "Do you believe it?" he demanded, voice cracking. No, Jordan swore, but doubt lingered in Wyatt's eyes, a seed planted deep. They argued, first real fracture. Wyatt storming to the site, Jordan pacing the rebuilt store. Elias found him there, offering tea and truth. Cole's twisting everything. But Wyatt's scared. Alphas like him they push away to protect. Fight for it. Jordan did, showing at the cabin unannounced, rain lashing as he poured out fears. Not of Cole, but of losing this fragile us. Wyatt listened, walls crumbling, and pulled him inside, apologies in every kiss. They made love then, deliberate and deep, bodies sinking in rhythm that erased doubts. Wyatt's rut echo lingering in tender claims. Unity held through the hearing. Town council chamber stuffy with sense, Cole's suit crisp as his lies. Evidence mounted, ledgers, witness statements from Hunter's network, and when the beta sneered, calling Jordan a scheming Omega, Wyatt rose, voice thunder. He's the best of us. Loyal when I wasn't. The room shifted, votes swinging. Cole's bid denied in murmurs of relief. Victory tasted bittersweet. That night, bonfire at the site, beers raised to pack intact, but Cole's parting glare promised escalation. Jordan danced with Wyatt under sparks, body pressed close but unease gnawed. The plot demanded climax, blood for balance. Whispers reached him later. Cole allying with city developers, eyeing Ridgewood's forests for condos, a threat bigger than personal grudges. Journal entry that night, Wyatt's arm heavy over him. Won the battle. War coming. Love makes it hurt more. But I'd choose this us every time. Dawn broke clear but shadows lengthened, the story coiling for its strike. Spring teased with crocuses pushing through frost, but Ridgewood's air thickened with developer scouts in shiny trucks. Cole's beta charm oiling negotiations. Wyatt rallied the pack, petitions, town meetings, but fatigue etched him, sense fraying at edges. Jordan supported quietly, late nights drafting letters, his screenplay skills shaping arguments that swayed skeptics. Elias contributed murals of old-growth giants, symbols of roots worth fighting for. Intimacy sustained them. Lazy Sundays fishing, Wyatt's head in Jordan's lap as he read aloud from salvaged books. Heats where Wyatt nested the cabin with blankets scented like them, guiding Jordan through waves with patience that humbled. I never thought I'd have this, Wyatt confessed once, fingers laced. An Omega who fights beside, not behind. Jordan smiled, hiding the ache. You deserve it. All of it. But transmigration guilt festered. Had he stolen Wyatt's canon happiness? Elias seemed settled, dating a gentle beta artist. His arc redirected to self-discovery. Yet Cole's shadow loomed, culminating in a sabotage. Rigged chainsaw that nearly felled Wyatt, blade snapping mid-cut, sending timber crashing inches from his head. Jordan arrived at the white-knuckled, finding Wyatt stitched and scowling but alive. Cole's work, the alpha spat. Nearly got me. Hunter's got proof, tires matching the fire. But pressing charges means dragging the pack through courts, losing time against developers. Do it, Jordan urged, gripping his hand. For us. Wyatt searched his eyes, then nodded, resolve hardening. The arrest came swift. Cole in cuffs at dawn, his sneer twisting to rage. You think this ends it, Voss? The story wins. Developers'll bury you all. Jail time loomed but victory felt hollow. Cole's words echoed amid a chill. Wyatt recovered slow, Jordan nursing him with soups and stories, their bond a quiet fortress. But as summer bloomed, a letter arrived. From Jordan's original Jordan's sister in Seattle, postmarked odd, containing a coffee shop napkin with his handwriting. Wake up. Plot breaking. Panic surged. Bridge between worlds cracking? Jordan burned it but dreams followed. Trucks, pages flipping wild. Wyatt noticed, holding him through nights. Whatever it is, we face it, he murmured. Together. The developers pressed but community swelled. Protests at council, chains across trails. Jordan spoke at the rally, voice carrying over megaphones. This isn't just land. It's home. Our story's rooted here. Cheers rose, Wyatt beside him, hand in his, pride fierce. Climax neared, Cole's trial a powder keg. Testimony painted him desperate. Beta's betrayal born of resentment. Wyatt faced him in court, voice steady. You broke us once. Won't again. Cole cracked, confessing developer bribes, the case crumbling like dry rot. Ridgewood exhaled, forest safe, but Jordan felt the pull. Transmigration unstable, changes rippling back. That night, cabin lit by candles, Wyatt proposed not with rings but promises. Build with me. Pack. Life. Jordan agreed, tears hot, But as they loved, slow reverent, the air shimmered worlds brushing. Morning brought normalcy, but Jordan knew. Resolution hovered, not end. Summer sun baked Ridgewood's trails, turning pines to gold. But under the heat, Jordan's world frayed at seams he couldn't stitch. Cole's conviction landed him years behind bars, developers retreating with tails tucked, the town hailing Wyatt as savior in local rags. Celebrations filled the harbor, barbecues with clam bakes, fiddles wailing till midnight. But Jordan drifted through them, smiles forced, the napkin letter a ghost in his pocket. Wake up. The words mocked, a tether to a life that felt like fiction. Now Wyatt's touch the only real. He confided fragments to Elias over sketches one afternoon, the Omega pausing mid-stroke. Sounds like you're carrying two worlds, Elias said softly, eyes knowing. Let one go. This one's yours. Jordan nodded, but doubt clung like humidity. Nights with Wyatt were havens, bodies entwined on cabin porches, stars witnesses to whispers of forever. But dreams invaded. Seattle streets morphing to Ridgewood, trucks idling at intersections of plot and reality. Wyatt sensed it, since a tune like radar. Talk to me, he urged during a hike, waterfall mist cooling their skin. You've been distant since the trial. Jordan halted on mossy rocks, heart pounding. What if this us isn't meant? What if I have to leave? Wyatt's face shuddered, pain raw. Leave? For what? City lights? Cole's lies? He stepped close, hands gripping Jordan's arms. Alpha strength leashed but urgent. You're my center, Riley. Don't pull away now. The argument erupted there, words tumbling like cascade. Jordan's fears of being intruder, Wyatt's terror of abandonment echoing Cole's ghost. You think you're saving me? Wyatt shouted, voice echoing off stones. You are me whole fighting. Without you, I'm just the broken alpha from bad chapters. Jordan recoiled, the truth slicing. Wyatt echoed his novel self, but evolved, credits to changes Jordan wrought. They parted storming, Wyatt to the site, Jordan to the bookstore, shelves a refuge of spines that held no answers. Mrs. Hargrove watched over glasses. Lovers quarrel? Shed seen Riley's pining days now bloomed and bruised. Fix it, boy. Life ain't a book you rewrite alone. Elias intervened that evening, dragging Jordan to the diner for pie and plain talk. Wyatt's hurting because he loves you, flaws and all. And you? Scared of your own happy ending? The Omega squeezed his hand, citrus scent steady. I found mine without the script. You can too. Guilt crashed, Elias thriving, gallery shows in Seattle, beta partner gentle as tides. Jordan had freed him, but at what cost to Wyatt? He drove to the cabin at dusk, finding Wyatt on the porch, whiskey glass sweating in his fist, eyes red-rimmed. I'm sorry, Jordan started, but Wyatt rose, pulling him into an embrace that crushed air from lungs. Me too. Voice muffled in Jordan's hair. Thought you'd run like Cole. But you're not him. Never were. They held there, sense mingling an apology, then inside reconciliation slow and searing. Kisses tasting of salt, hands mapping forgiveness, bodies joining in rhythm that healed fractures. After tangled in sheets, Wyatt traced Jordan's brow. Whatever haunts you, share it. We're pack. The confession spilled then, halting. Not all Riley. Jordan from elsewhere. A world without sense where stories stay on pages. Trucks, books, waking here. Wyatt listened, expression shifting from shock to wonder. Thumb brushing Jordan's lip. Like a dreamwalker? Fits you, always seeing deeper. But you're here now. Real. Stay? Jordan nodded, tears falling, the weight lifting fractionally. Real. For them. But the shimmer returned nights later, stronger. Air rippling like heat haze pulling at edges. During a crew bonfire it struck. Vision blurring, voices fading. Wyatt's laugh distant as if underwater. Jordan gripped Hunter's arm, steadying, but panic clawed. The plot correcting, expelling the anomaly. Wyatt noticed, bundling him home early, concern etched. You're fading like mist. Tell me how to hold you. Jordan clung, making love desperate and deep, as if etching himself into Wyatt's skin. Morning clarity brought resolve. Anchor here, build irreplaceable threads. He proposed community projects, bookstore expansions, forest trails with story plaques, tying him to Ridgewood irrevocably. But betrayal struck from within. Hunter approached Wyatt privately, old loyalties fracturing under Cole's planted seeds. Forged emails suggesting Jordan, Riley, tipped developers for personal gain, a payout to escape town. Wyatt confronted him at the site, face ashen, printouts trembling in hand. Is this you? Voice broke on the question, alpha pride crumbling to vulnerability. No, Cole's last gasp, Jordan pleaded, but doubt poisoned Wyatt's eyes, the pack's stares boring holes. He stormed off, leaving Jordan adrift, journal filling with anguish. Betrayed by fiction. My love, my anchor slipping. Heart in shards. Elias rallied support, digging into forgeries with beta hackers from Seattle, proof mounting that Cole's prison contacts orchestrated it. But damage festered. Wyatt avoided the cabin, since withdrawn, crew divided. Jordan holed in the bookstore, rebuilding alone, tears blurring titles. Mrs. Hargrove hugged him fierce. Fight dirty if you must. Alpha's stubborn but Omega's win hearts. Climax crested at the full moon pack run. Ancient tradition, trails lit by lanterns, bodies shifting to primal forms under lunar pull. Jordan joined despite ache, scent marking determination. Wyatt led, aloof but midway, under canopy hush, Jordan cornered him, words pouring. I didn't betray. Love you too much to break us. The shimmer hit then, worlds colliding, vision splitting, Seattle's rain overlaying, pines pulling. Wyatt lunged, tackling him to earth, body pinning as if to ground. Don't go, he roared, alpha form half emerging, claws pricking without harm. Stay, fight with me. The pack encircled, Hunter confessing the email's fraud, Elias waving printouts in moonlight. Truth crashed, Wyatt collapsing over Jordan, sobs racking. Forgive me. Thought losing you again. Always, Jordan gasped, shimmer receding as bonds solidified. Pack sense enveloping, Wyatt's claim a roar that echoed souls. They rose together, run resuming in unity, Jordan's hand in Wyatt's, the glitch stabilizing. Back home, dawn breaking, they talked till exhaustion. Fears aired, futures sketched. Wyatt kissed his temple. You're my plot twist. Best one. Jordan slept secure but knew. Ending neared, humanistic not tragic, if he chose compassion over correction. Summer waned, autumn hinting gold, and Jordan wove deeper. Co-authoring Wyatt's memoir of pack resilience, sense in every page. The shimmer faded, worlds aligning in acceptance, his identity dual but home here. Betrayal mended, love scarred but stronger, Ridgewood a testament to changed fates. Autumn leaves carpeted Ridgewood's paths in crimson and amber, mirroring the slow unfurling of Jordan's resolve as winter loomed. The pack run had sealed fractures, Wyatt's apology a vow renewed in quiet cabins and dawn walks, hands clasped against chill winds off the sound. Cole's schemes unraveled fully. Prison confessions taped, developers fined into retreat, leaving the town to heal, scars like felled stumps regrowing tender shoots. Jordan threw himself into it, leading story circles at the bookstore, where locals shared ABO tales minus tropes, emphasizing choice over destiny. Elias guest spoke, his exhibit unwritten paths drawing crowds, a quiet nod to arcs redirected. Wyatt watched it all with eyes softened by gratitude, his alpha edges planed smooth by love's steady rasp. Evenings found them on the porch, rocking chairs creaking under shared weight, mugs steaming with cider as stars pricked the velvet sky. You built this, Wyatt said one night, arm draped over Jordan's shoulders, pulling him close against the nips of breeze. Not just saved me, gave us a story worth living. Jordan leaned into him, cedar scent blooming warm in Wyatt's oak embrace, the duality of self settling like silt in still water. I'm learning too, he admitted, fingers tracing the alpha's knee. Back there, my world, it was all scripts, no sense. Here it's messy real. You taught me freedoms in the choosing. Wyatt's kiss was slow, affirming, tongues dancing lazy as fireflies, bodies shifting to the bedroom where they mapped each other anew. Reverent touches, gasps echoing like waves on shore. But the transmigration lingered, a faint echo in dreams. Seattle's fog curling through pines, a truck's hum fading to chainsaw whine. No more shimmers, but intuition whispered closure neared. A gentle tug toward integration, not expulsion. Jordan resisted at first, clinging to fears of erasure, but Elias' words resurfaced. Let one go. During a solo hike, journal and pack, he wrote farewells, not to Ridgewood but to the old Jordan, the beta dreamer adrift in unlived plots. You found center here. Stay whole. The epiphany bloomed mid-trail, under a canopy where sunlight dappled like spotlights on a set head never scripted. He returned to Wyatt breathless, words tumbling over dinner. Salmon seared with herbs, table lit by candles guttering soft. I was scared of losing you, of the glitch pulling me back. But this us the pack, it's stronger. Am not leaving. Am home. Wyatt stilled, fork pausing, then rose to round the table, kneeling before Jordan's chair with a vulnerability that twisted hearts. Then marry me, he said, not question but plea, pulling a ring from pocket, simple band of twisted cedar and silver, etched with their initials from that bark-carved day. Not for claims or packs but because I choose you every dawn. Jordan yes tumbled free, tears hot as Wyatt slid it on, sealing with a kiss that tasted of forever. Winter arrived, gentle snow blanketing forests and hush, the wedding small but profound. Cabin deck strung with lights, pack gathered under evergreens heavy with frost. Elias officiated, voice warm over vows exchanged raw. Wyatt promising roots unyielding, Jordan skies unbounded. Rings exchanged, scents flaring in joyful clash, the kiss under cheers a spark that warmed bones. Honeymoon was the coast road, truck rumbling to hidden coves where they swam in icy waves. Bodies chilled but souls aflame, nights in motels with neon glow, loving till exhaustion claimed. Spring rebirth brought changes. Bookstore expanded to community center, Jordan screenplays adapted for local theater. ABO tales reimagined humanistic, emphasizing identity's fluidity. Wyatt stepped back from foreman duties, mentoring youth packs on sustainable logs, his hands, once clenched in rage, now guiding with patience. They adopted a stray pup, a beta mutt named Finn, its wagging chaos filling the cabin with life. Years folded like well-worn pages. Arguments over dinner dishes dissolving to laughter, heats and ruts navigated with humor and heat, packs growing as friends wed, children toddling with mixed sense. Jordan wrote their story, not as novel but memoir shared at fairs, message clear. Compassion rewrites fates, freedom blooms in authenticity, identity forged in love's quiet forge. One eve, porch swing creaking under them, Finn snoring at feet, Wyatt turned, eyes crinkling. Still believe in glitches? Jordan smiled, head on shoulder. Only the good ones. The ones that brought me here. They sat in companionable silence, stars winking approval, the sound whispering lullabies of tides turned. In that moment Jordan knew, transmigration wasn't theft but gift. A plot changed not to center him, but to center them all. Ridgewood thrived, hearts open, and he once adrift, anchored deep in the man beside him, the world a canvas repainted with grace.